Hi, look who decided to show up. I haven't forgotten that I had this channel. I'm so sorry. Life happened and I kind of had to choose in what I was working on, and I decided to prioritize my Brazilian channel. But I decided to do my comeback with a video idea that I hope becomes video series here in the channel, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I did a video for my Brazilian channel a few months ago where I took recommendations from Scooby. That is a social media for readers like Goodreads, but it's Brazilian. I think it is the most used book platform in Brazil. They also have this recommendation system where you access the page of a book and it lists the books that are recommended based on the book that you were searching for. I'm not sure about the differences between Goodreads and Scooby in the algorithm and in the criteria of the platform to choose what to recommend. But one of the things that I know that Scooby recommendations are in keywords. So there's a few keywords in the synopsis of the book that kind of leads to recommendations. I think Goodreads can act in a different way and maybe more based in things that other readers who have similar taste than you also are recommending or giving 5 stars. So I think both platforms have things in common and other things that are different. And I thought about doing a similar video using Goodreads, but then I decided that I could kind of transform this idea into a video series. And instead of doing one video reading like 5 recommendations that were given to me based on 5 different books that I gave 5 stars, how about I choose one book per video and go through all the recommendations that Goodreads will send my way and see how many of those recommendations I already read, and if I agree with those recommendations, if I agree that those books should have been recommended together. And the idea for the next videos is to save one book for the video so I can read the book in the video, but it didn't work for this first because it ended up that in this month, I read 3 of the 5 books that I will talk to you guys today. And for various reasons, I couldn't record a vlog for any of them. One of them, I did record a vlog, but it's live in my other channel because it was a paid job. So I decided to try this first video without the vlog part and see how it goes and if you guys enjoy the idea. And then for the next ones, I will save one book to read through the video. Because when I thought about this video, I thought about picking one book that I gave 5 stars and going through the recommendations, picking 3 to 5 books, being one of them a book that was in my TBR. So if I pick 5, then 4 I already read and 1 I will read in the video. And to kick off this video series, I choose The Tainted Cup. This is one of my favorite books of the year so far. It's a fantasy. It's by Robert Jackson Bennett. We already have cover for the second book. I don't remember the name, but it's very intriguing and got me thinking about the focus of the next book. I have the Goodreads page for The Tainted Cup opened. I don't rate my books in social media anymore, so all my books don't have evaluations in any of the public platforms that I used. I'm sorry if that bothers you, but that's how things are going for me at the moment, so that's why it's not ranked 5 stars. So I guess looking at the title of the section that is called Readers Also Enjoyed, it's easy to figure it out that it's based on what other readers liked, and the fact that probably these recommendations are based on the fact that people gave 5 stars to The Tainted Cup and also gave 5 stars to the books that are listed here. So it's a little bit different than the platform we have here in Brazil. So I think it's going to be interesting to look at what is showing up here. So let's start with the first 4 books. The Silver Blood Promise by James Logan. I don't know much about this book. I didn't read anything from this author yet, but it looks like epic fantasy. It kind of screams the type of fantasy that I like. It's also with a good rating. It's from April of 2024. Then we have The Familiar by Lee Bardugo. I read The Familiar early this year. I think was in April. I'm a huge fan of Lee Bardugo. I think I already read everything that she published. And The Familiar wasn't a hit for me. I thought it was very simple and lacking some deepness, but was a fast and easy read. So I think I was just expecting to be more moved by the story because I usually enjoy her characters and her world building, and this being adult standalone of fantasy I thought would resonate better with me. So this is the first one that I read. Then we have The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. This is a new release. I think was released in February. It was in my list of books to keep on my radar because I think could be one of the nominees on Goodreads Choice Awards. I think I only read one other book from this author, The Bear and the Nightingale, and it didn't work so well for me, but this is a very different book in types of subject, and even the genre I think is different, so I will give it a try. Then we have The Book That Broke the World. This is the second book in this series by Mark Lawrence. I read the first one in January and I thought it was a nice story, even that the book is too long. The second one is way shorter than the first one. I think the author realized that he didn't need to inflate the book so much. Then in the second page, we have The Book of Doors. That is a big hit of this year. The Will of the Many that I read in January. Emily White's Map of the Otherlands, who is the sequel for Encyclopedia of Fairies. And then we have The Trials of Empire by Richard Swan. I have been seeing the covers of this series a lot lately. Yeah, this is the third one, Empire of the Wolves. And the ratings are good, even that apparently there's not so many people reading. I have to put it on my goals for next year. From this role, I already read The Book of Doors. This was the one book that I wanted to read as a vlog in this video. I was in an introspective moment, so I was like, let me just read. So this is one of the books that I read this month. Then The Will of the Many I read in January, and Map of the Otherlands I also read this month. So these two are very recent readings. In the third row, we have When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. This is the same author of Divergent. I am very curious for this book. The ratings are not great. And after that, I know she published a few other things, but I didn't read any of it. And this was described as an adult fantasy, if I remember correctly. Then we have The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. I wouldn't guess this being here as a recommendation, even if I have to save my life, because for me, there's nothing in common. Then we have Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I know nothing about this book. I'm not even gonna try to guess. It's a person upside down. It looks like a tarot card. Maybe there's something to do with. Then we have How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. I think I already saw people talking about this book and saying it was quite funny. And then in the next page of recommendations, we have Service Model by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I think this is the new release from the author. I recently figured out that he has a lot of books published. Then we have Someone You Can Build a Nest In. I don't think I ever saw this cover before. Then we have Dreadful by Caitlin Rosakis. This cover is very cute, and at the same time, I think the book maybe not be as cute. And then we have 5 Broken Blades by Mike Corland. I actually finished this book 2 days ago, and that's why I'm finally sitting down to record this video. In the last row of recommendations, we have What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher. Then The Haxologists by Josiah Bancroft. I know this author, but I know nothing about this book. Then we have Cascade Failure by L.M. Sagas. Looks like a revolutionary apocalyptic book. And the last one is The Stardust Grail. Looks to me as a sci-fi or maybe horror novel. Yeah, it's first listed as a science fiction and then fantasy, aliens and space opera from the acclaimed author The Deep Sky. Yeah, I saw this cover around, but I don't think this book was published here in Brazil. Okay, so let's talk about my picks for us to chat in this video. Okay, let's start with The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is a kind of a witchy book with the figure of a familiar, a type of person who kind of resembles a vampire, but it's not a vampire. It follows a girl. She's working at home of a family who's not doing great in society, but she has a power. And the lady of this house find out about that. And then she see herself in the middle of competition and be in contact with the king and things like that. I don't think that book has much to do with the Tainted Cup in any way. It's not a complex scenario. It's not an investigation. We don't have anything like supernatural in this book. There's no curses. The things here are based in a more science fiction based theory, like human experiments and things like that. So I don't know how those two books can relate. In this case, will be purely in the opinion of each reader. Then we can go to The Will of the Many. In this one, I can see a little bit of why someone who liked The Tainted Cup would like The Will of the Many. This is a more complex universe. This is for fans of Red Rising who like that type of story where when we have a character going undercover and we have all of this hierarchy. They have to navigate to get somewhere in this society where things are very brutal and you kind of have to survive. Like you are always in survivor mode. This is a book that portrayed that type of situation. We kind of have a little bit in here too, this survival mode and the fact that we have a more complex and hierarchical system, even that in the situation that the story is being told, we don't have to worry about that because we are seeing the story through the eyes of... So this book kind of flows in a different direction. The society looks more evolved here than it looks here, even that we also have like experimental things happen with humans here. And maybe that is the connecting point between both of these books. The fact that in both of these books, we have humans being used in different ways. Here is more for evolving, like you can go through an evolution, and here they are used for technology, to maintaining this world functional. But these two books, I can see them being both related in different aspects. So I think it will be actually a good recommendation, but not because of the topic of the book, not because they are both very similar in the story, but because they share a few key points. For the third book, I'm going to talk a little bit about The Book of Doors. This book is a huge success of this year. And I do agree with that. I had a great time reading it. First of all, I really enjoy this type of books that are also, they're both a reading and a mystery. And I have favorites that do that and execute the same formula in a way that I really enjoy, like Starless Sea, Ink Blood Sister Scribe, even the Mark Lawrence, The Book That Wouldn't Burn, kind of do that. I think that book's a little more far away, but it's still about books and still about entering different situations through books. I think Garrett Brown did an excellent job doing that in a simple way that didn't make the story become boring or stupid or kind of low down the level of the things that he want to tell in the story. And the fact that for every question that we have in the book, we also have an answer in a different location of the books. Maybe you didn't pay enough attention to understand, but all the answers are there. It's not like a question and an answer, but the answers are in the book. And the fact that this execution didn't make the book look less intelligent, it's really in the author's ability of telling the story. So I really enjoyed The Book of Doors. And in relation to The Tainted Cup, I think it's about the investigation. It's a completely different type of investigation, but in The Book of Doors, we have a woman, she works in a bookstore, and one day one of her oldest clients is sitting there and he just dies. And he left behind a book for her. That book is The Book of Doors, and there's a notation in the book. So with that book, she can open any door, and that door will lead to the place that she was thinking about, if that place has an open door, a door to be open, so she can use that door. But it's a very valuable artifact, so people are gonna start going after her, and it's not the only book that is magical in this world. She goes through a hunting, but it's also an investigation because she wants to know what's happening, who are those people, how she can fix this, how she can keep the people she likes safe, and how she will survive being now the owner of this book in a world that she didn't know didn't even know existed even like a day before, the moment that things started getting weird for her. So I think it's about the navigation of this world and the investigation to how to survive through the things that are happening here. And we kind of have a little bit of that here too, or maybe the different unexpected allies, because here we have older detective Anna, and her assistant, someone that she's training, who is very young, don't really know how to navigate this world. She doesn't like to leave her home, so she kind of let him do all of the field work. He has a type of photographic memory, so he can memorize things in his mind, engrave things in his mind, and then tell her exactly what he saw through the trigger of smells. And it kind of builds an interesting dynamic between those two characters and other characters that are also taking part in this investigation. So maybe this could be a good pairing with the Book of Doors because of the mystery around everything. Maybe it's not the investigation. Maybe the investigation is not the right word here. Maybe it's the mystery that connect both of these books. For the fourth book, I will mention here Emily Wilde's Map of Otherlands. And this one for me is also very close to the familiar in the way I don't see both of stories having much in common. First of all, this series is cozy fantasy. I was not a big fan of Encyclopedia of Fairies, but I did enjoy Map of Otherlands more. I think it's more centered in figuring out what's happening here with the fairy world, other than the characters. And the first one was very focused on the characters and their personalities and their relationships. I didn't vibe with that very much. But the second one, I really enjoy knowing more about this world. So I enjoyed the second one better. But I don't see how Map of Otherlands and Tainted Cup could have anything in common in that sense. Maybe there is some type of investigation, but I don't think it even fits the theme because it's very focused on a different topic. I don't think it's a good match. I feel like I can see more people that liked Map of Otherlands liking The Familiar and the other way around than both of those people enjoying the Tainted Cup. I don't know how to explain this one, I'm sorry. And then we have the last one, 5 Broken Blades by Nycollas. This is the first adult book by this author. She has published already other books, but I think with a pen name, but for a younger audience. I was expecting this book to read a little more adult. I don't know how to explain that, but it started reading as a young book, but not in a bad way. And I realized through the reading that what I was expecting was the fact that I was expecting a little more of world building. And this book's more simplified in that way. But that doesn't mean that we are talking with young people, because we can have young adult book with a big world building development, and we can have an adult book with less world building development. It's fine. So I think I was missing that, and that made me feel like I was reading a book for a younger audience. The characters are all around the age of 20. Here we meet 5 strangers, 5 people that have different abilities. One is a thief, one is a spy, one is a murderer, the other one is a prince that was exiled. And they are called for a mission, and this mission is to kill a god king that everybody says it's immortal, but they have to kill him. And it's not a competition, what already gained points with me. They need to work together. And the thing about this book is, I think what I talk in the Book of Doors, that you are kind of putting together a squad. We have a squad put together at the end of the Book of Doors too, but it's very unlikely. Different from Six of Crows, for example, is that when we start Six of Crows, they already been together for a while. In this book, they don't know each other. So they kind of have to figure it out a way of trusting each other very quickly so they can execute this plan and value the other's ability and trust the other's ability that they will make this work. So instead of just throwing the reader in a story where we already have a group of people put together, we kind of have to see this group knowing each other and trusting each other and figuring it out how to apply their abilities better. It's a very easy read. All of the characters have point of views, and we even have one more character that's not listed as one of the 5 Broken Blades. He is an unexpected addition to this group. Makes a little more sense than Map of Otherlands and maybe The Familiar, but it's still based on the fact that we are seeing characters that wouldn't be put together in a normal situation, and they are put together to fit the story. And that happens in Five Broken Blades, that happens in the Tainted Cup, and that happens in the Book of Doors. Even that, the only book that actually gives all of those characters a point of view is this one. The other ones, we are following more like one person, and that person is showing us the other people around. Yeah, I think that's it. Would I say that any of these books share a similar story with the Tainted Cup? Like I said to you guys, I would recommend this for Red Rising readers. I would recommend the Book of Doors to Starless Sea readers. Would I recommend the Tainted Cup as a similar story to any of these other 5 books? No, I wouldn't. But I gave 5 stars to the Book of Doors. And The Will of the Many came very close. But yeah, I don't think any of these books that are being recommended because of readers that also enjoy them and the Tainted Cup have enough similarities to be paired together. But maybe you have a different opinion and you can tell me here in the comments down below. You can also tell me if you enjoy this type of video. I hope the next one I can have a vlog part, but even if I don't, I think I got a good amount of footage to fit a video. And you can also let me know in the comments what other book that you know that I gave 5 stars that you would like me to go through the recommendations and talk about what I think about the ones that I already read and maybe pick another one to read in the next installment in this video series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're not subscribed here yet, please do. My other channel is also listed in the description box down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!